What up, Cucks? It's your boy, the hater, up in this piece. And I got a few things I want to say about Solo Sikoa up in this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Here's the thing about this asshole, right? He is like every other Samoan wrestler I've ever seen in my life. And I have a huge problem with the Samoan wrestlers, all right? Solo Sikoa in particular, and I'll get to it, right? But let's start with a quick little analysis of all the Samoan wrestlers and why they all collectively suck ass. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so first of all, I'm not talking about The Rock, by the way. I'm not talking about the Samoans with character. I'm not talking about Yokozuna. I'm talking about Rikishi. I'm talking about Solo Sikoa, Umaga, the Usos, Tamina, all that crap, right? Nia Jax, right? Here's the thing about them, right? Haku, remember him, motherfucks? Or Meng, as people call him. Oh, Meng's the toughest guy in history. No, he's not. I don't care what you say. What do you think of that? Here's the problem, right? Here's the problem specifically with Solo Sikoa as it pertains to the rest of the Samoans, right? Solo Sikoa literally is just the third Uso. I know he's their real brother, right? But he literally is just a third Uso. Now, he's going to be the singles Uso for some reason because he's not a twin, I guess. But let's look at the truth, right? He is completely indistinguishable from the Usos, right? Now that he's on the main roster, he's doing the Samoan Spike, which, Samoan Spike is like a cool finisher and concept, right? But let's be real, right? His moveset is exactly the same as the Usos. They'll do the occasional headbutt. They'll do like 5 super kick variants, 1 to the knee, 1 to the stomach, 1 to the face, 1 to the back of the head sometimes. They'll do like a flying splash, right? They'll do the ass to the corner thing, right? That Umaga used to do. Where, they run to the corner and he turns around and hits you with his ass because they all have big asses, right? And then they'll do the Samoan drop, of course. And that's about it, right? That's their entire, move repertoire. Now, generally speaking, if you had a new wrestler, you've never seen this before, right? And he did these moves, you'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? All right, that's a pretty decent moveset, right? But because there's so many wrestlers that do the same exact moveset, it's like, what distinguishes... I understand the Usos. Obviously, the point is that nothing distinguishes Jay from Jimmy Uso, right? They're twins. That's the whole point. The whole point is they're the same fucking guy, basically, right? But Solo Sikoa, he's got the blonde hair and everything. He's trying to stand out. But what exactly is his character? Oh, he's a champion of the streets, right? At least Umaga was like a crazy savage guy, right? So that was his thing. He's like a Samoan savage, you can do something with that. You can build around that, right? You can make matches like him versus Triple H when they're trying to push his ass, right? And the entire premise can be like, well, this guy's basically a savage. He's basically an animal. So it's going to take a lot for Triple H to, take him down. You know what I mean? That could be the premise of Umaga as a character. And that's what it was, right? But with Solo Sikoa, he's just a guy. He's literally just a guy, right? And he has a stupid name, Solo Sikoa, right? He's like Rikishi and Umaga, but with no gimmick. He is related to them. He's Rikishi's son, right? Just like the Usos are. But let's be real here, all right? Let's kind of say it like it is. None of these guys have ever brought anything to the table. They lack charisma. It's like, I really don't like how The Rock is grouped in with the Anoa'i family, right? As if he actually is related to them. He's not related to them. They're like some goofy ass blood brothers or whatever. His dad or his grandpa was blood brothers with one of their guys, in the sense that they just shook hands and they decided they're a family one day, right? They're not actually related, which explains a lot as to why the Anoa'i family, generally speaking, has absolutely zero charisma, except for, arguably Roman Reigns. Arguably, motherfucks. He's not much better either, you know what I mean? If it weren't for the fact that he does a Superman punch and he has a cool spear, he is indistinguishable from the Usos, right? In terms of he would be indistinguishable because they don't have him do someone drops as often or splashes or things like that. He actually does wrestling moves. And he's interesting. He's a main event guy. And his character work is okay, I guess. But the Usos, they're just a complete waste of time and money, in my opinion. Obviously, they're doing good now because they're part of the bloodline, which is a greater concept. Even Solo Sikoa seems necessary now. But looking at Solo Sikoa, I really do think to myself, wow, the nepotism in wrestling is definitely real. Obviously, right? Everybody knows that, right? Cookie Rhodes would never be going to WrestleMania if he wasn't Dusty Rhodes' son. You know what I mean? And now it's they have a lack of main eventers. So it's people like Cody Rhodes, automatically get promoted. It really comes down to the fact that he's someone with name, right? And he hasn't been in WWE for a while, right? Just like Solo Sikoa, except Solo Sikoa has no name, so he's gonna be a jobber for the rest of his career. The problem I have with this motherfucks is that it really takes away from any attempts to make characters interesting, right? Why would Solo Sikoa, whatever the fuck his real name is in real life, why would this guy try to be interesting when all they need from him is to be Uso 3? Solo Uso, they should have just called him. You know? The lone Uso, the lone wolf of the Uso family. Like, shut the fuck up, you know what I'm saying? It's stupid as shit, right? And that's the issue that I have with it. It's like, maybe if you package Solo Sikoa as just straight up Umaga Jr., you know what I'm saying? Just fucking call him Umaga Jr. and have him be Umaga or something like that, right? It'd be much more interesting. Hell, even Rikishi tried to make himself interesting by, number one, doing cool moves, right? Putting his ass in people's faces. And also, obviously, doing this little dancing shtick. That was a complete failure, obviously. But it was entertaining, right? Rikishi at least tried to be entertaining. It was really weird because he wasn't very believable at all. Because he had this like T-Rex shaped body. Like he had like a big ass. And he had like little T-Rex arms. Like I never understood how Rikishi's arms ever did anything. You know what I mean? Like how they could even grab someone. It's just like, because he's so fat and he had such short arms that it makes no sense for him to even do like a move where he lifts people. But nevertheless, he did those once in a while. But the point is, he tried to make it cool. He tried to make wrestling fun, right? Solo Sikoa just comes out there and he's just like a tough guy. Oh, he's a tough guy. He's a tough Samoan. You know what I mean? And it's like, who the hell needs him? You know what I mean? Who needs Solo Sikoa? Nobody, motherfucks. Nobody has time for Solo Sikoa. So, that being said, we need new wrestlers. We need new heroes. And one way to get these new heroes, in order to prevent the next Cucky Rhodes from main eventing WrestleMania, is to take the people that you have and to make them interesting. The fact that nobody seems to understand that Solo Sikoa needs something else other than being Uso number 3. He's not even a twin, right? And the fact that nobody seems to get this is troubling, right? It's why Solo Sikoa is going to be on the pre-show for the rest of his career, which, in my opinion, won't be that long, right? It's just like Karrion Kross. It's like, you look at him and you're like, yo, this guy needs something else. You know what I mean? Something else is required to make this character palpable, right? It's not enough for Karrion Kross to just come out and say, oh, whatever, fall and pray, or whatever the fuck that even mean, you know? Like, it's not enough. It's never going to be over enough to the point where people actually want to watch. People want to see interesting shit. And none of this shit is interesting. With that being said, cucks, I'll talk to you later, motherfuckers.